Well, here I am again, YouTube friends. Last time you saw me, I was out on the boat, and here you're seeing me again, and I'm out on the boat again. I believe today is Wednesday, August 19th. At least I think I'm right about the date. And I'm back on the lake after going to work today. I got to come home a little bit early. It's a beautiful day, nice and sunny. Temperature's up near 90 degrees. It's quite windy today. I think we're still getting some wind off of that tropical storm that came in down on our Gulf Coast last few days. It kind of brought us some windier weather, a little bit of rain. Just light showers, so nothing bad off of it. But it's still a pretty good bit windy today. You'll probably hear it popping in the microphone there as the boat moves around. I'm looking, sitting in the sunshine, looking back to the west, and the wind is coming almost directly out of the west, maybe a little bit to the southwest, but mainly out of the west. A little bit of a breeze, but it's kind of cool. The sun is hot today, it really is. It's baking down. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but still quite warm here. But as usual, the old lake is beautiful. It's just pretty as it can be. A lot of ripples on the water. Hardly any traffic at all out today on the water. Usually there'll be quite a bit of bass fishermen out around on the lake, but on windy days they kind of stay back in the coves and behind the ridges and try to stay out of the wind. They don't like to fish when it's really windy. And I'd say today probably the wind's blowing maybe 12, 15 knots. Pretty good little breeze. I've always heard if you start seeing some white caps, some white tops to the waves in the water, that it's blowing up around 15. And I've seen a few around today and kind of in gust. And when the flag stands out, I don't know if you can see the flag behind me or not, when it stands out, it's saying it's up 12, 15 knots breeze. Oh, pretty nice. Be a good day for sailing. The wind's real steady and a good breeze, and it'd be a almost perfect day from sailing. And I really prefer sailing over houseboating, although in this lake, being mostly a shallow lake, sailing is in restricted lake on width and open area. It's really a better houseboating lake, I guess, than a sailing lake, although I do prefer sailing. I don't have a sailboat right now. I had one for several years I used around here, a little small, what you call a compact yacht, about 16 feet long, and it was kind of good for these small waters, and I used it for quite a while, but sold it a few years ago. But I'm still hopeful one of these days to get another sailboat, probably a small sailboat around here, and be able to get back out on the water and do some sailing. Probably hear that wind picking up. There's a little gust in here that go, pretty good little gust, so it's blowing around. This thing may pop and crack so bad that I can't use it, don't know. And speaking of sailing, I said something the other day. I get comments, and I appreciate those comments from everybody, and still getting some new subscribers, and I always enjoy my new subscribers. I get, I guess, half dozen a week normally, and I appreciate that. I always try to send a thank you, and sometimes I get messages back from those new subscribers. But anyway, one of my older subscribers the other day, I said something about something on the boat, and he brought it up, and it kind of reminded me that sometimes you say things that other people may not be familiar with, and they might not understand it, or they might learn something by something that you have said. And Bill PG, old Bill, over in Britain, one of my good, loyal British viewers that I've known quite a while and got to be friends with. Bill visited here a few years ago, a couple of years ago, I guess it was, and I got to meet him down in Huntsville, and we toured the Space and Rocket Center, he and his lady friend, and we had a good time. But anyway, Bill asked me the other day, he said, you said something about the ropes on your boat, and I think what I said was that sailors usually consider anything smaller than an inch in diameter on a boat to be a line, and anything an inch or above is called a rope. And Bill said he hadn't heard that before, and I guess it is not common knowledge for the average person unless you've been around boats and sailing and you kind of pick that up. But you know, that's one thing I really have enjoyed about learning to be a sailor. And I've learned it, believe it or not, I learned my sailing out of a book about, oh my goodness, almost 40 years ago. I decided I wanted to take up sailing, and I found an old boat in a estate sale, bought it, never had sailed before, and had two young sons at that time, and we bought a book on sailing and took that thing out and learned by the book. So I've learned my basic sailing from the book. Of course, you get a lot of experience through the years, and you learn a lot more. You learn a lot from other people that are sailors. But anyway, what I was saying, one of the things I've really enjoyed about sailing is the things that you do learn. I've always enjoyed having a new learning experience, and sailing is for certain that. It's entirely different from anything that you probably would do otherwise. For sure, anything different than an Alabama farm boy had ever done. I knew something about tractors and farm crops and such as that, but you know, I was never exposed to sailing. Had never been on a sailboat until I bought that old boat and learned how to sail in. But the terminology is good. It's fun and it's different. It pertains to the things on the boat, and it pertains to the water, like the line and rope deal. And everybody just about knows the front of the boat is the bow and the back of the boat is the stern, and that if you're toward the front of the boat is forward, and if you're toward the back of the boat is aft. And in the middle of the boat, side to side, of course, is called the beam. What's under the boat, what floats in the water is called the hull, and down the middle of the hull there's usually some sort of keel. And on sailboats, of course, at the back you have a rudder that steers the boat. The motor on a motorboat kind of takes that place. You have a rudder, and you have the older boats have a tiller connected to the rudder. And of course, some of the newer sailboats have a wheel that connects to it. The right side of the boat, not called the right side of the boat, it's called starboard. The left side of the boat is called the port. You even have different names from where the wind is coming from. The side of the boat that the wind is blowing from is called the weather side. I guess that's where your weather blows in from. The rain and the wind is blowing from the weather side. And the other side of the boat away from the wind is called the lee side. They call it leeward. I enjoy some of the old sailor terms. They don't say starboard, they say starboard. And they don't say leeward, they say leeward. And if you've ever heard anybody refer to a bathroom, a rest facility as a loo, that's where that came from. The old sailors always placed their bucket that was used for bathroom duty on the lee side of the boat, because that's where the heel of the boat, that'd be the low side of the boat. When the old sailboat was heeled over, blowing in the wind, they put it on the lee side of the boat, which is leeward. So they call that bucket or container that they use the loo. I think that kind of passed on down to modern times too. And I'm looking off there. Here, there's a pontoon boat coming down the river, the lake over here. I'm on Roseberry Lake again, if you want to call it Roseberry, Dry Creek, whatever, backwater of the Tennessee River. And again, I'm in northeastern Alabama. And that's a little pontoon boat going by. A lot of people use those on this lake because they're a shallow draft boat. They're on